My name is Chu Machinye, and I am your family lawyer. My name is Chu Machinye, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to yet another episode of Your Family Lawyer. This is an emergency edition of Your Family Lawyer. It is to discuss something that is worrisome to me and to many Nigerians. Because today we'll expose a grim and unwholesome practice of baby factories and the bizarre social scam known as the Dubai pregnancy. We'll explore what these are, why they persist, the legal implications, and what must be done to change the situation and to protect young girls, children, and Nigerian families from this madness. Before we dive in, don't forget, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss the next edition. And if you are worried or you care about protecting your family and its future and avoiding legal pitfalls, this is the place to be. Give us a call or send us a message and let's help you take the right legal steps towards fulfillment. We need to bust this scam now so that we can delineate the line between legitimate child adoption, which is permissive within our legal jurisprudence, and the criminal enterprise known in colloquial parlance as Dubai pregnancy in many cities across southern Nigeria. Unscrupulous people trade in young girls whom they purchase and warehouse. They then hire viral men to impregnate them. The children of these malicious endeavors are subsequently sold to disparate women with or without their husband's consent. It is a huge cartel. It is condemnable. It is not acceptable in our society. But let's begin with a disturbing reality called baby factories. These are not places of joy or hope. They are illegal facilities disguised often as maternity homes, religious shelters, or orphanages. They are places where girls and the young women are detained, impregnated by male hirelings or sex slaves, and forced to give birth. The babies are then sold. The victims of this wicked enterprise are mostly the girls who are trafficked, orphaned, homeless, or misled by false promises of care, of love, and of wealth. Many are raped or forced into sexual relations to become pregnant. The buyers, they are the disparate couples or women under societal pressure to bear children. These clients pay between 300,000 naira pre-Tinubu era to 1 million naira, and perhaps currently much more now, depending on the clientele. And they do this to illegally obtain babies. In some cases, babies are sold to foreign agents for trafficking or for rituals. Believe me, for rituals. But what really is this Dubai pregnancy scam? Let us break it down, how it works. A woman purchases a baby from a baby factory, but instead of admitting illicit adoption, she stages a fake pregnancy. She sometimes wears a prosthetic belly for several months, or sometimes isolates herself from family and friends. At the beginning, and that's how the name came, claiming sometimes to have traveled to Dubai for delivery. She later returns with a newborn baby. In some cases, the unsuspecting, gullible husband is denied sexual intimacy for several months in the guise that the doctor or the prophet recommended it. They cook up reasons why they should never go for antenatal in proper clinics. You know why? It is spiritually not going to work. You won't see the child because the baby is spiritually ordained. In some other cases, disparate husbands acquiesce in this fraud. They want to be seen to have a child because of society's pressure. So they agree to the facade that is always the charade that the wife brings up. But it's a facade, a condemnable scam, carefully scripted to maintain dignity in a society where adoption is frowned upon, infertility is a stigma, and childbirth is seen as a badge of marital success. A typical story that occurs is, for instance, a woman in Anambra pretended to be pregnant for 8 months. She stopped attending church. She wore maternity clothes and eventually traveled to Dubai. She returned months later with a baby, an imported forged certificate from a fictitious hospital said to be in the United Arab Emirates. Of course, it may be in Aba. The community praised her for the miracle, praised God as well. Months later, the truth surfaced. The baby was purchased from a baby factory somewhere in Ebonyi State. As we are wont to do in this program, let us draw this home by showing you how this went down in a court. The facts of that matter that was decided in 2015 were that a woman was arrested for running a baby factory where young girls were paid to carry pregnancies for infertile couples. Surrogacy style, you may think. These arrangements were done to look like it was surrogacy, but they were illicit and exploitative, both by design and function. No formal agreements or medical oversight existed. Just crude cash and carry baby factory transaction. The outcome? The court convicted her under child trafficking and exploitation laws. The babies were removed from their adoptive homes and returned to state custody. The lesson to be learned from this is that the line between altruistic surrogacy or adoption and criminal exploitation is razor thin. And the thin line is regulation. This case led to a statewide crackdown on many surrogacy-style setups in informal environments. Then again in 2020, the Enugu State Police rescued 19 pregnant teenagers from a so-called clinic. These girls have been kept in crowded rooms, given minimal food, monitored until delivery. After birth, the babies were taken away from them. The girls never knew where their children went to. Let's take a little look into the law and say clearly that all of these activities violate the Child Rights Act, which is intended to protect every child's right to identity, to dignity, and to care. It offends the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Act of 2015 because that act criminalizes all forms of child sale or trafficking. Of course, our Criminal Code Act prohibits kidnapping, sexual abuse, and unlawful confinement. The state adoption laws mandate proper adoption through family courts. All you need to do is to follow these processes. Be law-abiding. Don't buy children. Because if you do and you are caught, you may face criminal prosecution for trafficking and for fraud. And you risk jail terms of up to 10 years. That child that you bought will be taken from you. And you might be blacklisted from the possibility of adoption. And for the baby factory operators, you face possibility of life imprisonment under Section 13 and 21 of the Trafficking in Persons Act. Your properties, where you conduct that illicit activity, is sure to be forfeited to government. And there is consequence as well for the child, who may not have any legal identity or birth records. That child is denied knowledge of the true and original source of their way into the earth, who is their father. And they face emotional trauma if the truth emerges later on in life. Nigeria's culture often places a woman's value in her fertility. And this is wrong. Families shame women who cannot conceive. Churches that should be places of succor label them as needing deliverance. And in-laws press for grandchildren endlessly. Adoption is wrongly seen as plan B for the barren woman. These unwholesome attitudes breed desperation and serve as catalyst to the Dubai pregnancy charade, which is a mastercraft in self-deceit and fraud. Truly, it is difficult to imagine what drives a woman or a couple to willy-nilly enter into an eternal life of lies to self, to their children, and to God. But we will say this because we cannot fathom what the family and societal pressures do to these childless couples. I'm inclined to think that the Dubai pregnancy narrative gives cover for a lie society demands, and a shift in society's degradation of childless women would help to reduce the demand for and the supply of this illicit business. These are my views. And as a result of these views, I would like to make a call to action for legal reforms by state governments, by the federal government. Our legislative houses, both at the federal and the state levels, should think of what they could do to frustrate these fertility clinics and regulate the proper ways of adopting a child, and for surrogacy to have a proper legislative framework to function. We must destigmatize infertility and educate communities about safe legal adoption and surrogacy. Now, religious institutions and churches and mosques must become safe places for honest conversations about fertility and parenting, and not places for giving hope against hope, leading to frustration and desperation. The communities must report suspected baby factories and expose fake pregnancies when they see them. Let me finally make an appeal to your conscience. The baby factory industry and the Dubai pregnancy syndrome persist as a tragic intersection between poverty, patriarchy, and criminal enterprise. We owe it to Nigeria's children, born and unborn, to ensure that they are not traded like property or hidden behind lies. Let's end this silence, change the laws, and restore dignity to adoption and surrogacy, and place truth in motherhood as not the survival link between a woman and her destiny. You could help this cause, support it, by just clicking the subscribe button or by sharing this episode. You can turn on your notification bells so that you see what we'll have to say more about this and other issues. And if what I have said has given cause for you to need legal consultation or advice, call us today or send a WhatsApp message through the numbers on your screen. It's been my pleasure. My name is Chu Machinye, and I am your family lawyer.